17 isn't accurate because you'd be deducting out, you know, when they do a per pupil expenditure for us, they include our special ed, I believe. So it's a skewed number at best.
And it's very skewed this year because it went up $849 per pupil, but it includes the Alliance allocation. It includes all grants, right, Bob?
Yes. Yeah, what you're going to see differently too, I put on a report today about percentage of students that are special ed compared to the rest of the state. I mean, we're in the, I've got the exact number on a spreadsheet that I can pull up later, but I think we're like number 77. Yeah, I think it's around 23–24% of our overall budget is for special ed.
But the number that I'd like to see is per pupil expenditure on our special ed students, and then the actual per pupil expenditure on the remaining students, because the number that goes to the public, let's just say it's 17,000, okay? It's not accurate. We know it's not accurate, and it's, I mean, through the years, we've had people at budget meetings that don't even understand that we have to pay for special education. Never mind that we're paying 2 to 3 times what it's costing us to educate regular education for special ed. And so, again, the more information, the better when somebody's debating our budget. Well, because we have 200 students that are costing us 40,000. The rest are costing us 10. I don't know what to tell you, that's what it is, you know, and so if we can get that somehow.
Oh, yeah, I can come up with that, there's no problem.
Yeah.
I have access to that. I mean, one of the slides that there was too much of a mess on it. But it was what tuition and transportation costs for the kids that are sent out. I mean,
right.
X amount of students that are sent out. You know, just to see that identified too.
Right.
But yeah, I can have that all broken down. I mean, those are all state reports that I can pull down. They'll have 2018 numbers, and I can do 2019s as an estimate.
Thank you.
Do you want to move ahead
Yeah.
to page 8?
So then,
Where we're kind of getting at it. So we're changing pupil services to special education in the slide?
Correct.
Pupil services, though, actually covers 504,
we're
other
talking
identification stuff.
We're talking about enrichment, and they want to keep that
Okay.
separate.
Well, I think our town is going to relate to
Tracy,
special
I think
education.
if you swipe
more than pupil.
I think you just swipe on it to the
They're not going to get down into the nuts and
So-
bolts of.
the next page.
Good job, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Hold, please.
And then the,
Don't let
the
it
next
touch
page
anything.
also goes,
Yeah.
Yes.
so, you know, again, that,
This way.
I got it.
what I always get nervous about is they're gonna look at their.
You've got
one,
all right.
two,
Now,
three.
this is
out
on
there
the
one night.
payroll costs?
Yes.
Okay. so leave it at that.
This is the total, we've got to add this into this.
Because this is payroll, staffing costs, or other staffing costs.
Right, just straight up payroll, and this is the cost, the
Right.
other employee
It's like
costs.
fringe benefits.
Yep.
Right, it's just, anytime you see the word total, people
should go with
jump
total.
to it being the total for the subject, in this case, it's special ed.
Okay.
And it's just not, you know, we didn't put a total at the bottom of this page,
it's a DACO special ed van, but if you put 2 kids on it, then we're splitting the cost with another town.
And we're working with Putnam, to coordinate, this is where all our students go, all your students go, and see if there's an area that we can cost share that.
Are these numbers prior to any state reimbursements?
Yes.
So there will be reimbursements money added to this then to reduce these numbers?
Yeah, basically, what, I budgeted, you'll see the next sheet, budgeted, $350 for excess special ed costs. That's considered for, at least the time being, so people actually see where it's going. But for the time being, have it as a Medicaid, in the same column as the Medicaid reimbursement.
Yeah.
And then it's used as an offset for an expense, and I have to show a 1-to-1. If I get a check for, we get a check for $500,000, we get a check for $500, I have to, it has to be deducted off the exact account that $500 was spent out of.
So to help us on the budget side, would it make sense for us to propose 1.5 reimbursement and then have the number as to what hits the budget, or do we have to show the full expense first?
I think for budgeting purposes, my recommendation would be to budget the full amount that you think you're gonna spend, okay, and then, who knows, next year they might say, well, we're not gonna give back anything.
But I mean, right, but I'm just saying, when we present this though, what is our real cost of special ed? Is it 1.5 or is it minus the 300, proposed 300? So it's really 1.2.
You gotta know what your real cost is, you don't know what your reimbursement is.
I just wanna,
You might get that,
might
you
get
might get
100,000.
more, you might get less.
right,
So you just don't know.
so put the full expense, anything we get off of that is, thank you very much to the state.
Well, no, he's shown the 3.5 is less.
No, right, but I'm just saying on the budget, which number do we go with? But I agree, we put the full burden of 1.5. And hope it comes in less with reimbursement.
And Bob,
Which
more
I-
or less estimated with that reimbursement, and put that number in the
Right,
budget.
right, but I'm just saying, is it misleading that we have it in the budget? I guess I should have said that in the first part, where.
You have to show it because we've gone through such a, I mean, my own opinion, you need to show it to the Board of Finance. Okay, this is where there's money, excuse me, my voice is cracking, it's 14. This is where this money is coming from, and this is the money that's coming into us, and this is where we're going to expend it. So I think the first couple of years, that's what you wanted.
Right, when it's presented to the Board of Finance, the real number is 1.5. No, I'm just talking just that one line, which has the screen before.
That's just output.
No, what the other.
Someone asked me, that's just out, those are out,
In regular
that's just
transportation.
output.
Right, but I'm just saying, when they see it out there, the real number is 1.5.
It's not just output, is it?
Yeah.
It includes intro.
Yes.
This is total.
This is outplacement.
That's output.
So what's the total of the whole?
The whole department is 3.9. Right there. You're adding back 374 to the department of 3.5.
You got special ed, oh, that's tuition, that's special ed transportation.
Yep.
Oh, I was looking
Okay,
at special
so
ed.
now, that's,
I was looking at, while we're talking about transportation, how are you tracking on diesel?
Diesel, we're getting closer to breaking even.
Oh, okay.
It's gasoline. And I think the best thing that I could figure with the gasoline is that last year you had contracted out a bunch of special ed transportation. In the cost that was passed along to you, fuel was included in the daily costs. Here, it's separate, so you're pretty well aware. I've got to call DACO to see if the only thing, I'm curious to know if the only thing that the vans are being used for is special ed. If they are, then our gasoline, see if I can isolate our gasoline costs to go into special ed, as part of special ed transportation, and if it is, and we have one kid on a van, and we identify that one kid, the cost of getting that student there, would include gasoline as well, you know, that's another $10,000.
So Kathleen just clarified something. I guess this one slide is just confusing because it doesn't say pupil services outplacement.
Okay,
If you just put outplacement there, then it'll correct everything.
okay.
We made the other one, the other two special ed.
To be consistent with the other slide, I'm going back to the services, special ed staffing. Can we do the +1 and the +1 or -1 on the staffing schedule? Because we've added a BCBA, and we've added,
We added a BCBA this year.
we added a,
We did add, in here,
right, but he was comparing it to the budget, not actual. So from last year's budget, we actually added, a section, it looks like we added, a BCBA, we've added $82,000.
Yes.
And from last year's budget, it looks like we've added another teacher, but we took away an autism teacher, what?
The autism teacher's paid by grant.
Oh, okay.
so these teachers here are those that are listed.
All right, well, we did add that, another BCBA, because I know we only budgeted for one line.
Yes, we did add a BCBA, we added, this is the proposed, staffing, so we added a guidance counselor because there's only 3 and now there's, on here, there's 4.
But this was that this year, right?
Yeah.
It was at the beginning of this year. I think that's what Catherine was saying. This is already there, but it wasn't in the year's budget. And then that's
Well, yeah, but we had this weird thing about comparing budget last year to budget this year, whereas if we compared actual this year, budget next year, we wouldn't see these huge fluctuations, people, know what we're doing, but we don't. So-
No, well, if you had as you get more accurate with your forecasting,
Right,
then your budget should actually come closer.
well, that would be nice, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did we add the other one, I'm sorry? We added a BCBA,
And let's see where it was behavior tech,
yeah,
we added 3 of those.
those, okay, thank you very much.
Back to the totals that we were talking about. Somewhere I'd like to see this total, because when I total up the 3 pages that we just talked about, I get $4,498,000 in change. And
We, we've made a couple of changes since this morning. Unfortunately, when I released the budget, it's a frozen in time number. There's gonna be adjustments throughout that process. What you're gonna get next, at the next budget meeting is all the adjustments made within the budget.
yeah, I'm just talking about these 3 handouts.
Right.
I mean, these 3 pages of this slide. Again, back to, we have people that don't even realize we pay for special ed. Well, in fact, we pay $4.5 million for it. I want that in big bold letters somewhere in the slides, especially if we're talking about 200 students. This is, it would be one slide, special ed, $4 million.
We have a slide that
I mean-
shows, the different things for special ed totaling to the 4.9 million or whatever it adds up to, and then minus the reimbursement. So that, you don't show, so it does show them the full budget.
Right.
Then you minus the reimbursement, the measly, lousy reimbursement from the state, and then puts to whatever we finalize as the worksheet.
Where are you getting the four? Because Jody and I see 3.7.
Okay, so I started at
I
this
added
page,
back the
2,123,473. Then I added every one of these line items, Tom. And then I added, the 2020 proposed, these two numbers.
Well, those numbers are in that 3.5 million.
And what 3.5?
The one on the, I'm looking at the worksheet, you gotta look at the spreadsheet.
Yeah, okay, but I always look at the slides.
Well,
And
those slides,
understanding that the slides are what people look at,
okay,
and if these, that's why I asked, if these three slides are all separate numbers, separate,
well, I think
items.
them, because they don't add up. Where is the tuition, it's spread all over here.
I mean, there are things that I'm missing, at the end, where you see the pie chart,
Yeah.
at the very end,
Yeah.
the pie chart is, that has the special ed amount.
2.93.
so.
That's 850,000, does that add up? To 1.143.
See on the budget one,
So then,
Sean on the pie chart,
Yep.
it's 3.5 million.
okay, and that's fine, which is still a lot more than zero that some people think we spend. So my question then would be, how do we have three slides in here that talk about people services stuff that adds up to 4.49? Is there something in this slide that either we should be putting in the pie chart or we should be taking out of these three slides? That's what I'm wondering.
So if that's the case, Sean, Jody and I had the 3.7. It ends up being a 19.77% of our total budget is put forward to special education. If it's the 4.5 million, that means 24% of our budget is special education.
Let's not get bogged down in these things. I'm sure we can probably, Melinda, they can break out the special ed costs, and we'll have a slide that says, this is special ed, this is what it costs.
Right, but Bill, I think when we look at this, it's 24%, let's just say it's 20% of our total budget. Going back to what Kathleen was saying, if we're only getting $300,000, we're getting like 0.0025%. Right, so,
So there's nothing we can do.
no, there's nothing we can do, you're right, but alliance money,
Would supplement that.
It would help with, training teachers to better support. That's the point of Alliance, right? It's to
Right.
provide professional development and some other supports, like programming and equipment that we can buy. Hopefully, we'll see that we get that next year and be able to offset some of the costs, but it won't really take away from our board ed budget.
And remember, one of our biggest points last year when we, we designated the alliances, we don't want legacy costs.
right,
So
Yeah.
really, this is the budget that we need, and if we get the alliance money, we do what we're supposed to
Our
do.
budget should always be the budget. This is
Right.
Extra to help us get boost our score. That's all that is. So it will go away after 4 years, 5 years,
Oh, 1 minute.
4 years. or
Well,
whatever.
that's it, yeah. That's all.
All right.
I would just like to see, for this purpose, I would like to see every single thing that is attributed to special ed, and if it takes up 3 pages, and at the bottom of the folder, that's all. And if we can even,
You can group things under other costs, I mean, obviously supplies and all that stuff, other costs, but things like, I didn't realize that we're paying $850,000 for other placements. I don't understand what that is.
Basically, I took, special ed outplacement that weren't Eastcon, which there's no reason to separate Eastcon special ed costs. I mean, it's not reported differently. So basically, I took that number, that 850, and then there's another 80 for, I think it's BOE special ed, and then there's another 60 for some other homebound special ed. That stuff is all going to, in the 2020 budget, that stuff is all added together.
Okay, and then there's a foster home tuition,
Same.
same thing, but there's no, they're regular transportation, right?
It depends on where they're placed.
Okay, all right.
We have that situation right now.
That was 193,000 of it. Yeah.
Or the 80,000.
No, well, the 80,000 rolled down to the 850,000, he had them all broken out last year. And that 80,000, the 20, and the 30 last year, all, it was the 543, rolled them all up into the 850,000.
Yeah, for some reason last year those were all split out,
Yeah.
and so I just combined them all together, and I'm not
But
even
the
gonna have,
foster home tuition, you still have broken.
not under the 2020 proposed budget.
Yeah.
No, just in the 19 budget.
Oh,
I
I'm
still have these
sorry,
guys.
I'm sorry, I
Hold on,
told you
so
that.
I can delete.
You put your totals up above and it's driving me crazy.
Well, it's convenient for me.
Oh, my God, it's driving me crazy by putting stuff above. Sorry.
I'm left-handed.
How is foster home tuition different than outpatient or?
So, DCF can place students, anywhere if there's a nexus, and we just, get that built. So, that's primarily that. We have no control over that,
Nothing different, it's just another way of breaking it out.
right?
We're breaking it out. With another line. Special ed tuition, no matter what. It's just, breaks it out.
Don't know.
Correct.
That one we get reimbursed for, don't we, if they're from like another district? And they place them in Thompson, according to what I read on the, we get 100% reimbursement from that.
I honestly, I'm gonna answer a big, I don't know.
Okay.
I know that there is some reimbursement that's different, it has to do with transportation, is part of it. That is usually within the purview of the special ed department. I should know it, and I can get you an answer for it.
Well, when I was reading the excess special ed cost grant, it's actually called a grant. Did they place a child from another district in a foster home in your district? From what I read and understood, and I could be wrong, you get 100% on that versus the 74% that you get on your normal in-district special education.
We're gonna look into that.
Yeah.
I'll get you the exact definition of that.
Okay. I'm
No, I'm not comfortable with that
Well,
one.
not
I don't wanna
necessarily
guess.
every foster child is out of district.
Okay, all right, so after tuition, anybody have any more questions or comments on this? Go to the next slide.
Are we changing the title of
Yeah.
outplacement?
Yeah, that's just what it's called in the system too. It's called pupil services.
Right, but the first two were changing just to say special ed, we can do that for everyone.
Yep. So this is just to give you an idea of what the town has received in special ed costs reimbursement from 2004 to 2020. The blue line is where it's been every year for the last, since 2004. The gold line is the 5-year average from the last 5 years. I didn't do the 16-year average because it's higher than the 5-year average, so I don't look like I was cheating. It's about, about 415,000 is what the average has been for the last 4 years. So that's when I projected 350, I just trying to lowball it a little bit.
But going back to my point from last, the town estimates, they get 250, so why don't we do it? It would be great if we got more, but
We've never gotten 250. I mean, it's never, that's way below, we've got 250 once, and I just gotta believe that they didn't submit the forms, but it's just not, I'm trying, when I make a guesstimate, I try to go based on some projection.
Reasonable historical thing, I get that, but we can talk about it later, because it's not that, but if we're just moving it from their side to our side, in my estimation, we should do exactly what they're doing. It would only benefit us.
Most school districts don't even show it.
I
They
would think
just
the
put down
first-
what
the
the-
first year, but, okay.
Like the idea grant, we don't show that, we just reduce the salaries on that.
So is that 230,000, is that an actual number? That 230, 267 in my copy?
In 2018, yes.
Even though the town looked at, had estimated that the reimbursement should be about factors that over a 5-year span, about $150,000.
Right, but they only put that amount in the budget to reduce the outlay. So that's why, my point is, we should do the same thing, to reduce it only by 250. If we start reducing it by 5 or 6 or 700,000 over the next few years, I think we're really gonna start shortchanging ourselves, and that's just very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, my thought was just to do, take it from their side, put it on our side at the 250. If we get more, that would be great. If we get less, which we probably won't, just so you know what I'm talking
Yep, I do. Okay, so, I'm gonna turn it over to Bill. Or do you want me to do the beginning part? and we-
You do the beginning part, and I'll be here for
Moral support.
moral support and whatever else anybody needs.
Okay. All right, so, for this department, which is plant and operations staffing, we have 1 director, we have 9 custodians. Was that voice again? Groundskeepers, we have 2, maintenance mechanics, we have 2. Health insurance costs us $234,982. The health savings account contributions are $33,000. Life insurance is $941. Longevity is $750. Medicare is $11,169, and FICA is $46,140.
Are we adding any staff?
I can say that Bill did put a staff, another custodian in his budget, but I took it out before it came to you.
Okay, so again, be consistent, kind of total after the staffing and the total after additional, keep the same
Okay.
format.
The pluses and minuses.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any pluses and minuses in the staff, but let's keep the same formatting
Yeah.
with our slides.
And eventually, as a call out, eventually, all health insurance and that other stuff is gonna be pulled out of the individual, it's not gonna be a district-wide account. I mean, so the same way we would do the same way with the high school, and middle school, elementary school, we'll actually get a better idea of what that particular department costs us to run.
Was the position that was taken out, was that just a general custodian, or was it just general for first, second, third? Second.
But I took it out
Yeah.
primarily because the cost was so high.
Is that when you have security detail background? Checking.
Well, when I really close it, just put it.
Just being calm. Work with me.
I can't.
All right. So, in this budget, we've got the 2019 budget, which has no money for capital improvement, but there's an actual capital improvement account.
But the town pays it.
I'm not the one who's gonna explain it.
Bill? This is the moral
I
support.
can't, this is the moral support.
Yeah, this is the
This
moral support section.
That's
You're
why I
on.
came tonight.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit quicker than I usually am, because I'm a little bit slower than I usually am. Building and maintenance, this year's budget was $254,268, proposed is $156,600.
Well, now we know where they can cut. There, that line.
And I'm gonna let Bill talk about what the money's gonna be spent on. You actually have it
Yes?
in your packet. And it's called Plant Operations, and it's really tiny. Last page. William?
Okay. So on this last page, that's printed very small, because that's how I reduce the budget.
So we can't see it?
If you look at those lower numbers, under the line, it starts with boiler cleaning, and, it looks like the total there is 156,600. Those are the things that we really don't have any choice on. We're required by law, by code, by any number of things to do all of those operations in order to unlock the doors and let people come in the building. I mean, there are a couple of lines in there, that, like miscellaneous repairs, that we put in $1,000 a month. Replace an AC unit, those are repairs. Those are the things we need to do. The first part of it, that comes up to $200,000, those are the things that we need to do because we haven't done them in 40 years. We say over and over again that this piece of property is the biggest investment that the town has, and that it was neglected for 40 years. And we've done a pretty good job over the last probably 4 years of doing some of those things. I mean, just to keep the building in a reasonable, nice condition. You can say anything you like, Catherine.
Okay. The accountant can do something else. The auditor can do something else. All right, item, tree and stump removal. Not a capital expense. That's an expense. It's not capital, there's no life to it. So one time, some appreciation on that. So that moves down to the 156. The modification to the middle school science lab, 2,505 in material. Not enough money, and probably multiple items.
It's flooring. It's flooring for the 2 middle school science labs.
There's gotta be some cutoff, you don't wanna, you know, something worth $25 or $35, you're not going to expense that. I mean, you're going to expense that, you're not going to amortize it.
I guess maybe the question that I have is the definition between a capital improvement.
Well, the town must have some lifetime, some cap. What is it? Well, Suzanne's here. What, do you know the answer to that?
No.
Well, they're usually, you have a cap.
You usually got $50,000 or $25,000 or whatever it is.
Well,
I think what
$3,000 or $4,000.
what Bill's doing here, it looks as though these are one-time expenses.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I see where you're going. Would I say they're all capital? No, but I can understand they're one-time, one-off, and done.
Right,
So,
but painting is specifically in the IRS code not an amortizable expense. So that is a one-time.
that's a repair maintenance.
That's
if you ask
repair
me.
maintenance.
If you ask me, but I see what you're doing. So maybe we'll reallocate some of these things.
Right,
but-
we just moved down.
But with a notation, a one-time thing, or once every 40 years, or whatever. it is.
Right, even though you supposedly, you know, paint lasts a long time, it's specifically in the code, non-amortizable.
Phil, do you wanna go down each item one by one and explain?
It's the board's pleasure.
I think that's what he was doing. So let's let Bill go through them, and then we can
Okay.
ask questions, all right?
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, so we'll, I guess, all right, so we'll start at the top and we'll just go down. And again, this first group of numbers are the things that we would like to do, we should do, we need to do, but it's not necessary to open the doors. Tree and stump removal, that has to do with the front hill. We've made good progress over it over the past year. Marcia's done a great job out there. But this was a quote that I got to just have somebody come in, and they would actually do it probably next winter, and just clean it up, be done with it once and for all. You can look at, you can.
Buy our own stump grinder?
Well, we bought a machine that has a stump grinding attachment. It's gonna take much till the end of his career to get this done, if he keeps doing it the way he's doing. And he's happy doing that, don't get me wrong. He's happy doing it.
Joke here, okay, yeah.
But I want to bring to everybody's attention that we have some dead trees out there, 30 of them.
There are also dead stands out there that, a lot of the problem was the gypsy moths. They defoliated the trees, even some pine trees, 2 years in a row, and they're not coming back anymore. So now that's dangerous, and so the trees, there's a number of 30.
The town has got thousands of trees they have to take down for the same reason, and we have them here, so.
So, can I just ask a question on that? Because the last storm we just had, my girlfriend and I were driving by, and there was a branch that fell.
Onto someone's car.
I didn't know that. Because the one that I saw fell into the road. There was no other cars. I pulled it to the sidewalk. But if that was the land, is that our responsibility?
So what happened was there was a tree right in the front of our building that lost a branch and fell on one of our employees' cars. And we've since Bill has taken that tree down.
This was on Route 12. It fell on Route 12. So that's why I'm just asking, to your point, and it was a dead, you can see it's a deadfall tree that's still there. So I'm just wondering if it's our responsibility. So part, I'll get that. But
I think he was throwing it at you.
the tree and stump, the camera, card reader camera, and then the lighting project, is that all part of, still part of the security grant?
No,
Why?
no, because those are items that were identified after the security grant was submitted. So we can't go back and say, gee, by the way, we thought of something else. The lighting project for the auditorium is actually an energy conservation project.
But there's reimbursement money on that, right?
No. I did not roll that into we're currently undertaking an energy conservation project for exterior lighting.
Yeah.
We couldn't roll the auditorium into that because it's based on how many hours the lights are projected to be lit. Those lights are not projected to be lit enough hours to warrant
So
getting
none of these qualify for any reimbursement?
no.
Okay.
All right, let's let Bill go through the list. I interrupted.
Okay, so modifications to the science labs is flooring. Cove base for the remainder of B building. Last year, we did a lot of work in the 7th and 8th grade, the 4th and 5th grade. This is to continue down through the back of the old Marriott Fisher Elementary School, up through the 3rd and 4th. Again, those hallways haven't been painted maybe since 1978. The ceilings haven't been changed since 1978. And those were all items that were value engineered out of the last building project. So, I mean, the need has been there, but again, we haven't been able to do it. A new high school reception desk, that's to change the layout of the high school office so that the secretary actually can have a view of what's going on outside. Currently, the desk, as designed, faces the other direction, so she's got two walls of glass windows that are behind her. She can't see what's going on in the parking lot. She can't see who's coming up the stairs. That's something that's needed.
So with that being a right return desk, that can't be moved? It's not
a desk. it's like this thing.
Like
It was
this,
built by
yeah.
the same, it was built by the same people that built this thing behind us. New flooring for the high school office, again, is part of that same project. Painting the remainder of the B building, and ceiling tiles in the remainder of the B building. That is, again, as I said, that third, fourth grade area. Guardrails, ever since we cut down the trees, there has been kind of an outcry that now that the trees aren't there, we're gonna all fall off the hill. So that $12,000 is for guardrails in front of the old high school building and around the S-curves on the hill going down. Flooring in the elementary school teachers lounge, that was a project that we had looked to do last year, but we ran out of funds, so we couldn't do it. There is a carpet in there currently that the PTO bought, I wanna say, the year that I came. And I don't even know what it covers. But the truth is that carpet is just like not a good thing in a public building. So the less the better. A good carpet will last 10 years in a residential setting. That one's been there at least 15 years where it gets a lot more traffic. There you go. Okay, so it was not the PTO.
Probably 20 years now, because he's been dead 21.
No, I was here, so it was 16.
That's about right, a couple years ago.
A card reader and a camera for door number 29. I guess this is a good time to make the point that when we lay out things in a budget and we think about, okay, this is what we want to do next year or the year after, then all of a sudden something comes up. So door number 29 is the door where the hallway is that goes between the old elementary school and the new early childhood center. There's that little hallway that goes down there after you pass the nurse's office, and there's one wall that's all glass, and there's an exit door there. It's just a fire exit. But this literally, I noticed it after the Christmas break, is that I saw lots of teachers and kids just walking out that door in nice straight lines, because for the first and second grade, that's the easiest way for them to go to recess. They don't have to go down the stairs, so they go out that way, down the sidewalk, down the stairs, they go to the playground, but there's no camera, there's no card reader, so that means theoretically they're going back in the other way, but I can't guarantee that.
Is there an exit alarm on that door?
Well, there's a trigger, there's a door trigger, so it'll come up on the security system that the door's been open. But unless there's a body, unless there's somebody that is assigned to sit there and watch that,
Right, but there's no sound.
no, there is not.
Bill, my concern on that would be there's also no sidewalk.
There is a sidewalk.
There's a sidewalk from there all the way to the other one?
Yes, there
I
is.
thought that was grass.
No, there is a sidewalk from there all the way to the stairs.
All right.
I think my point is, though, is that they obviously do it because it is the easiest, most convenient way for them to get all those kids where they gotta get them. You know, they're coming from lunch or whatever, that's the easiest way, and I guess we could stand back and say, no, you can't use that door, you have to go down the stairs. But in the end, it's probably the best way, so we should make the accommodation, put the equipment in so that they can do it correctly. Middle school bathrooms, that would be the other two bathrooms down, way down in the old Mary Fisher Elementary School, and it actually is 4 bathrooms, because there are 2 single bathrooms that are currently being used by the contained classrooms down there that are the same vintage and they're just as beat up. And, you know, that number, we've come up with, we've done bathrooms 3 years, this would be the 3rd year. We did 3rd and 4th grade, we did the 5th and 6th grade. The numbers usually come in pretty close to the same, between the tile work, the electrical, the painting, the lights, the plumbing. And bear in mind that a lot of this work is done in-house, all the plumbing, especially, all the plumbing is done in-house. We buy the fixtures, and Dean and Dave do all the work. We do all the painting, we do the ceilings. Concrete work was one that is just kind of a good guess on a number. Most of these numbers are solid numbers that I've got quotes on. The concrete work is just a good guess because, believe it or not, I couldn't get a concrete contractor to come out here and give me a price. I couldn't get anybody to come out here and give me a quote on this work, but that is for the stairs at the old Mary Fisher Elementary School and the front apron of the auditorium, which are both deteriorated pretty badly. And again, the lighting project in the auditorium is all of the house lights. Those cans are halogen lights up there. They're 120 watts each. And even though they shouldn't be on very much, they're on all the time. It's just like home. Everybody knows how to turn on the lights. And I'm the only one that knows how to turn them off. So they're on all the time, and there's a lot of labor involved to change those light bulbs when they burn out, and they burn out pretty quickly. They get very hot, they burn out quickly. It is literally a four-man job to change those lights. You have to set up staging, you have to rig up the lift and everything else. So this is to change them to LEDs, which would cut the energy costs, and it would certainly cut the labor costs.
So Bill, if they're on all the time, how come they don't qualify?
Because they're not supposed to be. They're not, see, when you look at, when you look at a,
change the projection of how much they're supposed to be on?
because the auditorium's not occupied. Eversource isn't gonna give me a rebate to change lighting to keep a space lit that's not occupied. They're gonna say, turn off the lights, Bill.
And back to what I was asking last week, there's nothing that Eversource would give us maybe for some type of grant or conservation money to do some type of automated?
Not for that.
No?
It's because of the usage, sure. Like the outside lighting,
No, I mean, I was talking about being able, they shut off when you're not in the room.
well,
And I understand what you were saying, how it's a whole wiring issue.
well, but you can't really have, because they're part of the theatrical lighting, you can't just have them shut off because, like, these lights go off on motion sensors, the hallways go off on motion sensors. I got that money years ago. You can't really do it in the auditorium because it's all part of the theatrical lighting. It has to,
Okay,
If the audience is sitting there nice and still, like.
No,
and the lights go off.
okay.
But this will pay for itself in.
It's gonna pay for itself very quickly in labor and electricity. There's just no rebate money on that one.
But we'll get the same.
And so then, I don't know, I hope you all got the other handouts. These, I started to project forward some of those, I call them capital expenses, apparently they are not. But those things that we're looking at for the next couple of years. And again, obviously it's not all there because things change every day. You'll see that I'm looking for the next 2 years to put money into emergency lighting. So we, up until the time of Hurricane Sandy, every time the wind blew just a little bit, we lost electricity up there. And then they did a lot of tree work. Eversource did a lot of tree work, and it's been much, much better. So previous to that, when we did do the last building project, we got Eversource to buy us a great big generator, 650 kilowatts. The generator is big enough to light this whole school. And one of the things we did not cut out of the budget is we built the infrastructure within the building. We have emergency panels throughout this building that are full of breakers, and only 4 or 5 of them are energized. Because what we did cut out was the trouble to actually tie emergency lights into those panels. So we have in this building, we have a set of chloride batteries down in the basement with these 12-volt lights in the ceiling that I think the batteries have been changed, but the system's been here since 1959. And since we haven't lost power in a long time, when it went out last week, I had a lot of lights that didn't light. It was, oh, the relay's stuck, I don't know what happened, but I had a lot of lights that didn't light. And in the high school, we have a lot of 12-volt battery packs that run remote heads, that some of those didn't come on. Down in the old Mary Fisher Elementary School, we have individual lights that you have to change the batteries. They have like little batteries like you would get in a rechargeable drill or something. So they have a lot of those. We changed those the year before last. By code, they're supposed to last 90 minutes. They didn't make it even close. So again, the cost and the labor to maintain this emergency lighting system, when we have the capacity to have a state-of-the-art system that runs off our generator, it's my opinion that the time has come to stop making the investment to do this work. And so that is just a placeholder number that I put in for the next couple of years, $20,000 a year, and that comes down to the cost of an electrician, wiring and labor.
So what we did was we asked each building principal primarily to give us their wish list, and then we went through that wish list and we prioritized it, but we did a 3-year plan, this current year and then the 2 years out, and then of course Bill had his own wish list of things, the lighting being one of them. So we are projecting out to FY '21 and '22 so that in case you had a question as to why you didn't see that this year, we do have a plan to address it now.
Two quick questions. One, to answer any questions that I saw on Facebook last week when the power went out. People were asking, I thought we had this huge generator that runs the school, why did they cancel activities? If the generator's there to run the school, why, why are things getting canceled if the school is being lit up like a Christmas tree?
So the school's not being lit up like a Christmas tree.
Okay.
We have the capacity to light the school up like a Christmas tree. But again, I'm looking at my other friend across the hall there, because he remembers as well as I do. The generator, we actually got the generator for free. So Eversource paid for the generator.
Right.
And the town kept the money in to add the infrastructure and the panels. But we were at the end of the budget. There was just no more money left to do the last step and wire in all the lights. So the new parts of the building are well lit. And since that time, we have taken out of our operations budget monies to tie in the high school gym, because we had a power failure during a graduation ceremony one night, and it was a little touch and go. It was going to get kind of ugly up there. And we realized that we've got a 650 kilowatt generator and we don't have emergency power in this gym. So we did that. We did the remainder of the kitchens. We've added the remainder of the boiler rooms and HVAC equipment so that the heat and the boilers always stay on.
So just like a home, you're making sure the essentials are able to be up and running.
Originally, it was only supposed to be this part, it was the gym.
It was supposed to be this gym, this kitchen.
This kitchen, the showers, and just it for emergency shelter. After that, we never got the money to do it.
All right, well, that answers the questions that were out there on that, so that's good. The second question was, where will advancements on wiring or infrastructure to support technology, does that fall under plant and operations, or will that fall under technology?
So we remember this year did a huge infrastructure upgrade.
Right, but 2-3 years out.
2-3 years out, that would fall into the issues with the servers. So she's working on, she has some money in her budget for that, but we, did a huge investment this current year. Remember, we got that E-rate grant funding for that $94,000. So
Right.
she would put that in her budget if we're gonna need to increase things moving forward, which I imagine we're always going to need to do.
Yeah, all right.
And if I could add, this is, you know, this is always, when you start projecting, when we project out for this year, it could all change. It could all change between now and June. So when we start projecting out 2 more years beyond that, then again, everything could change quickly. And we've got money here for furniture because we found out that since we've given everybody Chromebooks, the little desks just aren't working out so well anymore. So we're looking at now, we may have to change furniture. We've also, that I don't even have on here because I don't even have even a close number yet, is we're looking at possibly some hardware that can tighten up the public spaces so that when there is something going on, we're not worrying about the entire campus being as open. We're worried more about a tighter space, but that can be handled through controls through our security system as opposed to trying to lock doors and still maintain egress so that we can meet fire code.
What's the condition of the roof repairs? Is that 10,000 pretty valid, or is it, we still have roof issues?
Oh, no, that's just a placeholder for repairs for tape, yeah, until we can get the new roof on the building. Again, I've got the roofers will be here this week, because every time the roof freezes and thaws, guaranteed we hold water like a bushel basket.
Just a general question, if we have this availability of a generator that will light up the school or at least the gym and keep the kitchen going and the showers going, why don't the town use this as an emergency shelter?
But certainly, this is, so this is designated as a secondary shelter. The primary shelter is the Quinnebog Fire Department.
Next to a river.
And I believe it was because at the time,
Okay.
at the time that they designated it as a shelter, it was brand new. They had just finished it. It was prior to our building project. We didn't think we were gonna have a giant generator. And at that time, I don't think the showers in the middle school gym worked
And it's also,
overall.
that fire department's also one of the furthest points.
I know,
Yeah,
here
yeah.
we are in the center of town, up on a hill, with showers and a big huge gym and places for everybody to go with.
And we are in much better shape here
Yeah,
as a facility
yeah.
than we were in, I wanna say it must have been 2005, when that designation was made, because this facility was in far worse shape then than it is now.
That was part of our selling point, is that we would use this as a shelter if needed. All right, anybody else have questions for William? Comments?
I just think what Kathleen was saying, we definitely have to clean up the idea, as I look at this difference with some of these between capital and, maintenance. I mean, refinishing the gym floor, how often do we do that?
Every year.
Now,
Yeah,
is,
So that's amazing.
no,
You did it every year, that's just
but
like-
refinishing the gym floor is required just to open the door? I mean, I want a nice gym floor, I remember what we played on.
Yeah, but that floor was done every year.
Right.
Every year until you
That
come
gym
back.
in there right now should be stripped down and all the paint done. Go in there and look. There's not even a center black line painted in there. That whole
I'm
thing
not
should be.
I'm not questioning that we need to do it. I'm questioning the designation, whether or not it's, that's all I'm saying.
We do the
'Cause
high school
Bill-
gym in
'cause-
August, and
I'm
we do
just
this
saying,
one.
Bill said these all have to be done to open the doors. I wouldn't
As
think
long
we're
as
finishing-
she's sitting next to me, they have to be done to open the doors, Sean.
The high school one's done earlier,
Yeah,
because the traffic isn't the same. They use that for recess and everything else. It peels the veneer up off of it, so that when basketball season comes, it's dangerous. They can't even stop. They slide right into the wall or to the stage. So that's why he does it what? Veterans Day?
Veterans Day
We
weekend.
do it Veterans Day weekend, so it's a little bit tackier and lasts through winter.
okay.
Give me a little water. All right, anybody else have anything? All right, so what's next?
So, we're gonna make the adjustments on these slides, because we're gonna eventually take the slides from session one, budget workshop 1, 2, and then next week 3, and put it all together. So, Bob and I will be working on making those adjustments. This kind of concludes this evening, unless you want to show that last, pie chart again, Bob. But our next workshop is February 19th. And that is just why that will include transportation, and it other wide.
So, do we want to do that? The only reason why I say that is, I thought we had to have final to the Board of Finance on the 28th of February, wasn't it? Finance, Board of Finance.
February 28th.
So that if we have the last presentation on the 19th, will that give us enough time?
No.
19.
No, I will tell you, I don't think so, only because we need one more presentation.
Right.
And then we have to start really working on this.
So, we're gonna need a couple more meetings this summer. Right?
We would have,
What's today, right? Then we have.
Then we have a regular board meeting, but.
Yeah. So why can't we have one next week?
Should have one more.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we're shortchanging ourselves. Go ahead.
All right, so the third presentation, is that ready to roll out now?
Yes.
So if we wanted to do that next week,
So Monday the fourth.
I'm just concerned that we're not going to have time to go through this, because once we start picking it apart, we're gonna say, what does this look like? We're gonna take this out, we're gonna put this back in, and we're gonna need time. You time to prepare, get it back to us, so.
and I would assume we can't meet on the 19th school board, right? Huh?
19th.
Well, it is a budget workshop, a regular one.
Why don't we have a workshop in the school?
We had one last week.
We have a generator.
No. That wasn't.
And a nice job.
This is scheduled off.
I don't know. Does anybody have time next week?
Yes. All the times in the world.
Fourth is Monday.
What is Monday? Can we do next week? Yes, next Monday? Yes, is that okay?
Yep.
6:30 next, and can we advertise it a little bit? I thought we had a lot of people like that.
That's a good one.
Bitching because we, don't advertise.
Yeah, probably I'll let the authority. Oh, that was like that.
You put the, yeah, like, it's on Winnie, it's all good.
They're home on Facebook saying how come
No,
they don't
we're
advertise
here
here.
tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll do it here next Monday at 6:30. All right, and that'll be the third one. Then the following week we have our, right here, at 6:30. The following week we have a regular BOE meeting, and we can decide on the 11th if we wanna scooch any of these other dates. I think we should try to meet at least once, if not twice a week, until we have something ready to go to the Board of Finance. If we get it done in 2 meetings, great. If it takes 6,
That date of the 28th doesn't change, right? That date of the 28th is given to the Board of Finance does not change.
That does not change because March 7th is a public meeting.
Right.
No,
So,
Board of Finance has workshops.
yeah.
So what's March 7th?
That's the public presentation. That's
what-
that's when you present to the Board of Finance.
So then what's the 28th?
They want the number ahead of
I
time.
think the Board of Selectmen need that by the 28th.
They've always wanted.
Because they have to
it.
advertise it, because it's a public hearing.
Okay.
They gotta get all their materials put together.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'll let you speak.
Wow.
Trying to be informal here.
Citizens
You need
comments?
to ride home.
Okay, I don't.
Definitely gonna need
All right.
somebody to cook for.
So February 4th, we're meeting. Anything else tonight? Questions, comments? If you want anything, if you need anything, please email Danielle, she'll get it to the right people.
You can even call her at 2:45 in the afternoon, and she'll have it for you that night. Ask me, I did it today. She's great.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Yes, bye.
John did. We have a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.